Gee guys, what's up? We're just here with Sean from Advance, and today we're going to be talking about the availability of minerals and how do we know how much the cows need. So for me here on farm, we're coming into mating, which is the most important part of our year, and it's, technology and different ways of getting minerals into cows are continuously evolving. We've been sort of stuck in the past. There hasn't been much development around mineral supplementation through the springer period coming into mating, early lactation, trying to get our cows to peak milk, and just having to dust paddocks. I've been farming for, I've been hanging around dairy farms since I was 13, so I'm 30 now, so 17 years I've been floating around a dairy farm and putting magnesium onto paddocks and whatnot, and we are still doing things the same way that we used to 13 years ago, and I don't think it was new technology 13 years ago, so who knows how long it's been, people have been dusting paddocks. The elements are still the same. We're still getting windy Octobers. It's still an absolute prick to try and get minerals onto paddocks because it's just so many things change. Like it's either raining or shower fronts are coming through, coming into spring. So just with the minerals, mate, it's awesome to have the minerals coming through the shed, but how do we know as farmers how much we need to put on and when to stop and that sort of thing? Because a lot of farmers around me, I see everyone dusting. Sometimes people are dusting right up to Christmas and then they'll put it away and they'll bring it out again later on in the season.
Yep. Yeah. Excellent question. It's the question I have always asking guys, because like any supplementation, you're trying to fill a gap, and if you're trying to fill a gap that doesn't exist, well, you're just wasting money. Yeah. And so the trick is to identify the gaps that you need to fill and then fill them appropriately.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't overfill them, if you know what I mean. So we use herbage analysis a lot, and that's really good. And what that does is that, alongside of knowing what the cow demand is and what the time of the year is, so what the grass is likely to be like, can make a big difference. So basically, once you can get your herbage tests and you know what is and isn't in the grass, then you can supplement accordingly. So it might be that you're low on calcium, only averagely low on mag, so you don't need a lot of mag, but you're very low on phosphorus. And so just filling that phosphorus gap can actually cause quite a significant increase in milk production. And so, there's quite a few, there's a lot of elements that are affected if there's a gap in the system. Immune function, so it's not just all about milk production. And obviously getting cows back in calf.
So this whole herbage test thing for us that aren't farming, what's a herbage test? Is it as simple as grabbing a hamburger and opening it up and realising that there's a beef patty and a bit of cheese in there, or?
Yeah, so it is an analysis done in a lab, but you take a sample of herbage, ideally 3 to 5 paddocks in front of the cows, and so you want to get an average across those paddocks of what the cows will be eating over the next sort of 3 to 4 days. Put that into ideally a paper bag or a bag that doesn't sweat, so leave the bag open and send it off to the lab. So you can drop that into your local vet or whatever. You want to be testing your macro minerals, so your calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, sodium, sulfur. So that comes as a package test. Yeah, cool. So and then also testing your trace minerals if you can. They're not as critical, but it is quite useful information. So Hills laboratories do a lot of those tests. Urethans, we use urethans a lot, they're really good. But there's quite a few labs that do them. But try and use the main labs because they do proper wet chemistry, and that gives you really good accurate results.
Wicked. So in order to get that test done, it's just a matter of obviously taking the sample, dropping it off, getting an email and reading through where you're deficient and where your peaks are. What do we then do? Once we realise that we're low in calcium or low in magnesium for the girls, or it might be just all your young stock that are low in magnesium coming through bloods and livers and that sort of thing. What do we do after that?
Yeah, so that's our job really, is to look at those results, put together a recommendation, look at which product matches best and at what dose rate really. The vets do a lot of it as well. They're really good at reading the herbage tests and putting together recommendations. And so it's really just about matching the right product, and if you need something customised, well, we can do that as well. But it's really about knowing where the gaps are, how to fill them, at what rate to use which product basically.
Wicked. So as you guys can hear right now, it is howling, man.
Yeah.
It's the winds are absolutely
really moving.
thundering across the paddock at the moment. So trying to dust out there right now would be very difficult.
Yeah.
And if we didn't have the OptiPrill in the shed, we wouldn't be getting any of that stuff through. We'd be relying on the water, and obviously we're trying to peak milk produce at the moment.
Yep.
Very tough trying to get that in there, especially with calcium. So how come we can't get calcium fed through the water? Like I've never done it since I've been farming.
Yep.
Is it because it settles or?
Yeah, so calcium, well, you can get calcium chloride, but you're very limited to how much you can feed through the water. It's quite a caustic chemical or substance, and so it's not really that viable getting calcium through the water, unfortunately. And the only other way, of course, is dusting lime flour.
Which is totally out of the picture at the moment.
No, not going to be ideal. And it's all about how much you can get into each animal. And the good thing about in-shed feeding is your cows that need a bit more calcium are going to eat more feed in the shed and get a bit more of their mineral in their feed as well, which is a bonus. So.
Because cows aren't dumb, guys. They do know when they're lacking something, and they will go to those elements out in the paddock and try and find them. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Well, you can get what's called pica, and so they're licking fence posts and eating rocks and the race and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And so they'll go for the minerals, right?
They're trying to find them.
Yep. But if you're seeing pica, you're getting pretty low.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah,
you got
want to get that
serious,
before that happens.
Definitely, you got a serious gap in the system. Yep.
Cool.
Definitely.
So, any advice leading into mating for those of us that are wanting to make sure that our minerals are up there for our cows to cycle and conceive?
Yep. Yeah. So getting a herbage test is essential. So you know what's in the feed. Blood tests are really helpful, making sure your calcium and your phosphorus levels are adequate. Generally, magnesiums are okay because farmers are good at dosing or supplementing magnesium.
Yep.
But magnesium is also very important. And then your trace minerals. So we want to make sure that your selenium, copper, and iodine are the three really key ones at this time of the year. They're all optimal. And then obviously your zincs and your other minerals. So some basic testing goes a long way. But knowing what's in the feed is really useful information. And then working with your vet or one of our agents to make sure that we've got everything well balanced. Yep.
Oh, wicked, mate. Well, we'll look forward to catching up with you next week, and we'll dive deep into some more topics around OptiPrill and how it's benefiting us on farm.
Cool.
Cheers, team.